What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I am doing the ever popular, I guess, mid-year freakout book tag or tag, whatever. I just thought the list of questions was really cool that I stumbled across, and I figured I hadn't done a video in like over a week because I just hadn't had time, and then I started making excuses not to do it, so I figured, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump back into it, and let's attack this list, have some fun, and reflect on my journey. Also, keep in mind, I haven't been reading since January because the whole point of this channel, it's called Back to Reading, and it has a double meaning. Like, obviously, I'm getting back to reading after I'm done the video, but I started this channel because my journey of starting reading again regularly after years away from it as a hobby slash, form of entertainment, enjoyment, I thought that was an interesting journey because it had been, almost a 10-year break from reading like every day regularly to reading maybe one or two books a year. And at the end of March of this year, I got back into it. And so I've been reading since about the last week of March, and we are at July 2nd right now. So just keep that in mind. My list isn't as vast as some other people's, so my choices maybe were limited from what I've read, but I thought it was still cool to do anyway. So let's start with question number 1. It's the best book I've read so far in 2022. This is a tough one. I have two choices that really are vying for the top spot right now. I'm going to have to go with PIRANESI because that one is still, multiple books later, still seems to be the champion. Nobody can knock it off it's king of the hill right now. But Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne it blew me away. I thought I was going to enjoy it. It changed me. It was so good. So it's really tough. Recency bias wise, I think I would say Shadow of the Gods, but I know because PIRANESI is still so close in my mind, and I think about it almost every day, gonna have to have it at the top of the list now. I think at the end of the year when I do this, another video like this, it'll be interesting to see if Shadow of the Gods is able to edge it out, or perhaps even Hunger of the Gods, because I'm definitely looking forward, I think, to that as well. Okay, number 2, best sequel that I've read so far in 2022. That would have to go to Summer Night by Jim Butcher. This is book 4 of the Dresden Files. You could give it to book 2 or 3 as well, Full Moon or Grave Peril, but the hits just keep coming with this. I really enjoy this. I know they're not for everybody. Is there some cringe? Yes. Mostly good cringe, I enjoy the cringe factor. There are some times, I guess, that are just straight up. There's certain scenes or certain lines of dialogue that are no, just straight up cringe. Doesn't matter, though, because the books on the whole are so entertaining and so awesome. And also keep in mind, these earlier books were written a few years back now. So I'm interested to see how they keep evolving over the years because, I'm on book 5 right now, and I'm just loving it. They're just so easily readable. And if you are in a reading slump, you're having a tough time. I almost read a Dresden Files book almost in between every other book that I'm reading, just because why I jumped on this is a big fantasy, epic, so much death, so much, glory, so much battles, just such epic craziness like Shadow of the Gods. And please don't take anything away from it. I'm not taking this away from the Dresden Files. It's equally epic in scope, I know, as a series, but the readability factor, Shadow of the Gods is at times difficult, not difficult to read, but processing what's going on is very intense. Losing characters that you love and just the grim reality of this world. Whereas there's just a levity to Jim Butcher's writing in this series that I just find it so easy to fly through, and I love him. So best sequel and that I've read, and many other heaps of praise for Jim Butcher. I really like the series. New release that's come out so far this year that I want to read but haven't yet, I would say Eyes of the Void by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Just his style of writing is something that really intrigues me, and the concepts that he tackles. So Shards of Earth is something I want to check out as well, obviously, but because Eyes of the Void came out this year, that's the most appropriate one for my answer to this question. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year, that would have to be Babel by R.F. Kuang. I'm already really intrigued for the Poppy War trilogy. I've got that coming up shortly. I say shortly, there's so many books that I keep getting added to my list, but it's going to be there hopefully by the end of this year. If not, I for sure, that is next year, I'm going to fly through those. But because the writing style and all the good things that I've heard from sources that I really trust, of the releases that are coming out that I'm aware of for the second half of the year, that one has me the most excited. Biggest disappointment. This one is kind of weird. I kind of started with Dragonlance and the Witcher series, getting right back into things back in the end of March, early April. And the two short story collections, the first two books, I guess technically, I don't know, in the reading order of the series, I really liked those. I really loved the marriage of fairy tale, fantasy, almost grimdark, very, very raw, but still there's like morals to the story, and there's just like a lot of filth with them as well. And I thought it was a really cool marriage of the two. I really liked the approach. Like a couple of those short stories really stuck with me, and I think about them often. However, when it came to Blood of Elves, I enjoyed it. It was an okay read. Like I liked it, but I don't know, there's just something, just maybe not quite the series that's for me. I'm going to give the other books a shot, but I'm going to do it when I feel like it. And I started reading Time of Contempt, and I was like maybe 20 or 30 pages in, and I just had to put it down. Just wasn't sitting right with me. Maybe I wasn't in the right mood or whatever. And it's not that Blood of Elves was bad. I really liked the short story collection. I thought, well, if this is how they're setting up this, I'll just wait till I get into the whole series, and just, I don't know, it wasn't quite clicking for me. Biggest surprise of the year, that would have to be The Misfit Soldier by Michael Mamet. I actually got a review of that book on my channel you can check out. It was just so cool. It's a big surprise because I picked it up with nobody, I had no idea what it was. I thought the cover looked cool. I just happened to find it randomly, and it is a really cool first-person perspective sci-fi heist with a lot of humor in it, a lot of action. Comparisons have been made to the Dresden Files. I could totally see that as far as the writing style and the readability. You will fly through this book, not expecting the biggest, grand, space opera. It's a one and done. This author also did the Planet Side series. I think there's 3 books in that I'd like to check out as well, if they're even anything remotely like The Misfit Soldier, because it was just, I think I flew through it in like a day and a half, 2-day type of thing, and it was just, a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I think what it set out to do, it did really, really well, and I just I didn't know what to expect from it, and I definitely didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. So that would be my biggest surprise. My favorite new author, or new to me, and this is new to me, I've got to say right now, it's a toss-up. Susanna Clarke is on the one pedestal, and John Gwynne is sitting right there, edging for that top spot. It was Andy Weir, I would say, is up there too. Really, really enjoyed that. But there's just something about Piranesi to be able to convey through journal entries that kind of story and tell it so well. There's a sense of wonder and mystique to her writing that I can't get enough of that. I really, really enjoyed it. This next question is always a weird one, I think, for a lot of people that do these lists, a lot of booktubers. It's like your biggest fictional crush. I don't really have that. What I wanted to highlight in this situation, and this is non-spoiler, except for a name, but you're going to get that if you read this book, not too far in anyway. But the main protagonist of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, Ryland Grace, and Rocky. I won't say any more about who that is. You'll have to read it and find out. But anybody who's read the book and knows, I thought that the friendship between these two characters was just so heartwarming. It was so different, so unique, and I love it. I just really, really enjoyed that. And I loved there's interaction between them that just had me, just like literally laughing out loud and just, smiling at the page like all the time. Just these little one-liners and things, just the way they fed off each other, kind of an odd couple dynamic. And I really enjoyed that. Newest favorite character. For this one, I've got to go with Orca. I think if you've read The Shadow of the Gods, just such a cool, badass character. fierce. I will say, though, I equally like both other protagonists, Varg and Elvar as well, from The Shadow of the Gods. I thought they were all really, really well written and really cool characters in their own right. But I mean, Orc is just amazing. I can't really say too much without spoiling, just to say there's a lot of vengeance and a lot of death in that book, and she is quite a cool character. And I literally, when I was reading that book, would read her chapters, and if I would get to like a Varg or Elvar chapter, I would read those quickly first, and then put the book back down, so that when I came back to it, I'd be jumping into Orca's chapter again. So that kind of tells you, it was just like, oh, you could not wait to get back to those. All right, the next question is a book that made me cry. And it wasn't like full on like bawling, but the one that did have tears welling up my eyes was Clara in the Sun. I also have a video on that book if you'd like to check out my full range of thoughts on that. As a novel, I thought it was okay. The themes, however, that it discussed and everything, I thought were very thought-provoking, and like in our near future, things that we're going to have to deal with, and how we interact as we're, creating artificial intelligence. Yes, they're tools and objects, but once something has, a degree of sentience, where's the line? And humanity, more often than not, falls on the wrong side of the line for how we treat others. And I think that artificial intelligence, and from this book's perspective, seems to be almost it seems like we'd be the same, unfortunately, as we are in many aspects of how we treat others and treat the planet and whatnot as well too. So not trying to get like political or anything like that, but just, humans can be kind of crappy sometimes. So those themes are represented well in this book, I think, and thought made me really sad. Okay, book that made me happy. I think pretty much everything made me happy that I read. Obviously Blood of Elves didn't make me as happy. I've really enjoyed a lot of the books. I think because I kind of came back into reading while discovering BookTube at the same time, I've been just getting like stellar recommendations. I've gone off on a limb and just grabbed some things randomly as well. But A Killer in King's Cove by Iona Weishaupt. This is maybe not the most well-known, book to BookTube. I'd like to highlight it. It was a great surprise for me and made me happy as well. Not enough to give it the biggest surprise, but it really made me happy because finding a Canadian author writing books this good is always a nice surprise because I'm Canadian myself. And this is a mystery series set in late 40s. And it's female protagonist, ex-British spy that worked for MI6 that now is living in Canada, in British Columbia. A very, very small town. And I just thought it was really cool seeing a perspective like that. The country that I'm from, I live in Ontario, but there's certain references and things like that just, oh, it's cool. You don't get that quite often. I'm so used to reading about other places or made-up lands, then reading about Canada, that's not like purely history, it's historical fiction. It's nice because there's some real stuff there, but then, you're not stuck reading a textbook or reading a history book, which for some people is fantastic. It's just not my thing, not what I like to do. The most beautiful book I bought so far this year. This is obviously a toss-up between Shadow of the Gods and Hunger of the Gods. There's some other cool covers. City of Dusk, I really like that. Nettle and Bone, I like the cover of that. There's a bunch of them. I actually don't mind the cover for Project Hail Mary. It's kind of a cool artistic style. There's a lot that I like. But those two covers, if you're talking about like doing a good job of advertising your book, oh my God, you see that cover, the scale and the style, everything, right away, I looked at that book and I knew I was going to like it. Like I said, I didn't expect I was going to like it as much as I did. But I knew I was going to like it just from that cover. And if you could do that job like that well, I just don't even know what else to say. Like, they're just such an effective cover, and they're not only beautiful to look at, but just so effective. That's what I really love, how well they convey that sense of scale and scope. All right, last question on the list. What books do I need to finish by the end of the year? While there are many, there are a few standouts that I really, really want to get to. Leviathan Wakes, James S.A. Corey. Really want us to get started in the Expanse series. Hunger of the Gods, obviously, because I just can't stop thinking about Shadow of the Gods. There's no way. I need more Orca. I need more Varg. I need more Elvar. I need more of that Vigrid. I need more of that world. It's just so good. A memory called Empire by Arkady Martin. That sounds like it's right up my alley. I love bouncing back. I read a fantasy. I need some sci-fi. Spend too long in one world, I kind of need to bounce back and forth. I'm always torn between the two of them. That seems really cool. Space opera, right up my alley. Also, I would say, let's see what's next on my list. Yes. Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. That looks also like it's right up my alley, and if possible, I can squeeze this one in with those, and then Dresden Files almost in between every other one. If I can squeeze all those in, An Old Cold Grave by Ona Wishaw. I'd like to continue on in her mystery series as well, because I really enjoyed it, and I don't want to spend too much longer away from it. I read it quite a few books ago, and I'll maybe do a recap before I get back into it, but I just don't want to go too long before I progress, because there's quite a few books in the series already, so I think they're still piling up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Had a lot of fun making the video. This is really cool to have a retrospective look at the past several months of reading, kind of a look back at my journey, and I can't wait to do this again, maybe another 6 months from now, and we'll see how I feel about things, what else I've added, and where kind of things have shifted around on this list. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more stuff like this. Check out my other videos if you want more like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, let's get back to reading.